Okay, let me see. Now you got a chance to go to the motherland. If you could talk about that, what inspired you to go? Why did you go? And what was your experience?
Man, I love Africa. I'm jealous of you. The plan, this is my plan to do what you're doing. The plan is to move back there one of these days. And I just recently was married. And so now that may delay the plan slightly because I got to get her on board as much as I'm on board, man. But just being in Africa, man, just being in the motherland is amazing. So how did I get there? Um, we go through an organization that does missionary work in Kenya. And what they're doing in Kenya is training pastors and missionaries that live in Kenya, giving them an education there and helping them get some paperwork. So they'll have some paper, some credential based on what they're doing and some training they just didn't have available to them there. So that's kind of how it started. And then we do some work at Salama Baptist Orphanage and Salama Baptist Church. Salama Baptist Orphanage in Kenya. I love my people there, Pastor Moses, Sister Nancy, all those that are there. It's an amazing work. Their father, Dr. McCunty, a few years back, he lived in the area that was almost like a truck stop area. And in that area, they had a lot of children that were homeless, that were orphans. And many of these children didn't know their birthdays. Many of these children just kind of would just appeared on the streets. So he was feeding these kids once a week. And as feeding them once a week, some of the kids didn't have any other means of income, any other way to eat. So they were staying around the area where the church was at. And they would just stay there trying to wait till the next time that he was going to feed them again. So they would stay there sometimes days. And the people in the area was a kind of a rough area, which is hilarious to me because of the where it was located, you had a lot of prostitution, just a lot of stuff that you see in areas where there's a lot of traffic. And so, because the kids were there, they were putting a cramp on a style of a lot of the things that were going on there. So they started complaining to him about the kids that were in the area sleeping outside the church. So he decided to let them into the church. And so initially, he opened up the church doors, and they were just sleeping on the floor. He didn't have resources to feed them every single day initially, but he went from feeding them once a week to twice and three times a week. And then the next thing you know, he started to acquire the resources because he didn't want to put the kids out and he didn't want to have the complaints in the area. And what ends up happening is he starts Salama Baptist Orphanage. And Salama Baptist Orphanage goes from being just Salama Baptist Orphanage to also Salama School. So now he has a school that's created there, man. So to see the work that they've done in the orphanage and with the school and now with the church is amazing. Dr. McCunty passed a few years ago, but that was our main point of contact there. And so now his son is the pastor at the church and he runs the orphanage in the church. And so one of the things that we've done there is they were a big issue in Kenya. At least at this period of time, was water resources. There was a lack of water there. They had been missing rain for numerous years where they hadn't had large rainfall. A few years ago when I went, the first time that I went was back in 2014, maybe 2014 or 2015, I believe it was. They were talking to us about how the children under a certain age had never seen a full cornstalk because they were lacking rain. And because of the lack of rain, they didn't allow the corn stalks to even grow the entire way. They would cut them down early and use it as feed for the animals. And so we were talking about the fact that they were missing water. So what we ended up doing is we tried to build a well there at the orphanage. So they took some resources there to get a well there for the orphanage and a well near the church. They dug the first time and we ended up getting nothing, but we have been able to get water since then. Other great thing, the first time that my father went, my father is a old school Black Baptist preacher. And so for people to understand the stereotype of Black Baptist preachers, they love fried chicken. And so as he was there, the first experience that he had, he was not really happy with all of the food. He said that he was teaching a class in the morning and they literally saw them carrying the goat by the door. And by noon, they were serving the goat. So that's not enough time. I've cooked goat before. It's not enough time. It needs some time to roast. It needs some time to get tender. And so he's like, man, where's the fried chicken? So they're just kind of joking around and talking about the differences in our culture. And as they were talking to him, they explained to them that that's not something they had regularly and that the kids had never had fried chicken because of the expense of what that costs. So he asked them about what they normally ate. And then he asked them about something along the lines of how they got to their birthdays, what they did for birthdays. And as he was talking to the young kids about what they had done for birthdays, they said that the kids had never had a birthday party. And so what ended up happening is my father decided that he thought that every kid should have a birthday party. You know, he's a red-blooded American, right? So he thought every kid should have a birthday party. And so he started to garner resources for the 30 kids that are in the orphanage to have a birthday party. So during that birthday party, we provided them with a meal of their choice: chicken, cabbage, beans, everything that they normally said they don't have on a regular basis that we thought would be special for them. Provided them with birthday cake, provided them with new clothing for everyone that was in the orphanage as a present. And then, man, they were so excited about the soda, about the pop, right? Like they loved the orange pop, the grape pop. And so it was just an exciting time, man, to see those young people and how excited they were about that. And so what ended up happening is, because many of those young people didn't have birth dates or birth certificates, the orphanage then designated the time that we come, I believe it's September 13th now, September 13th or September 14th, when we're normally there. That's been designated as their birthday. So every year that when we show back up, we throw them a birthday party. So they're expecting this party every year at the orphanage when we're there. So anybody that didn't have a birth certificate, anybody didn't have an actual birthday that they had on record, now that's been designated as their birthday. So it's been amazing, man, because every year they get clothes from us, they get the party from us. And for many of them, they've now been able to get their paperwork, which has helped them in their next level of life. And that's something simply they wouldn't have done if we hadn't been there just celebrating with them. So I love it, man. I love Africa. I love Kenya. I've been to Kenya, Tanzania, been to Mount Kilimanjaro. I mean, I love it. I just hope that one day be able to, like I said, to have a place there myself, man.
Wow, man, that's truly amazing. Big shout out to you, your family. Like you said, y'all changed how they do things over there in Kenya. You know what I'm saying? I volunteered in the orphanage for one summer, man. It was life changing. You know, you take a lot of stuff for granted. You know what I'm saying? I had my
Bruh.
little laptop. I brought it in. They never had a computer before, or like you say, some of them they didn't know when their birthday was. You know what I'm saying? So we had a couple parties, and we did as much as we could. And those little seeds, like you say, that could change somebody's life.
Man, it's amazing how many people, how many friends that I have that are in Kenya now. So like when I do post videos of preaching and teaching, I used to teach a class regularly online. And understanding the time differences, right? So what their time difference is in Kenya, to see that people were trying their best to pop in and listen to sermons or listen to a class, and like, man, I know this is midnight there, 11 o'clock there, and for many of them, that it's not like at here in the States where I just got home internet. So a lot of times it's not like they just can go home and we got the internet at the house, or I got cable at the house. They had to go places to be able to use those things. So to be able to see it, man, it's amazing, and it is life changing. And they've told me that, like, they reach out to me all the time, man. I got a friend there. We try to talk to them about economic resources too. So we go there spiritually. We go there to train them, missionaries and teachers, and teach them about the Bible, teach them about scriptures, teach them about different ways to be able to teach, be able to preach, and be able to present. But then we also try to give them some life information. And so one of the things that we saw is, at least in that area, everybody appeared to think that Americans had money. So like when I get there, because we threw the birthday party, because we did those things, it's as if guy, like, literally, hey, I got 25 people. Can you bring me 25 laptops? And I'm like, I can barely afford my laptop. And so trying to help them to understand the differences in culture and understand that it's a sacrifice for me to be here. Like, I don't have unlimited resources at home. This is costing me multiple thousands of dollars just to get here. That's not even including anything that I do here, any food that I give, any help that I give, any charity that I'm doing or on when I'm there. Just flight, travel, hotel for 2 weeks, for me to be able to survive. Like, that takes a lot of resources. And so explaining that a lot of times is funny, because they're expecting you to have, all of this money. And I'm like, man, where I'm at home, we're not rich people. So maybe, culturally you may think that we're rich, but where I'm, like I said, I'm from Cleveland. We top 5 poor cities in the country. And so, like, we're not rich people. So explaining that to them is funny, but trying to explain to them that even without having a lot of wealth, you can be very resourceful and be able to take care of yourself in a manner where you don't have to beg, where you don't have to steal, where you don't have to borrow, where you'll be able to take care of yourself. So trying to encourage, I got a friend there saying all of that. Since this period of time, started his own farm. Because that's something we talked to him about. Like, man, you can at least buy a couple of chickens, right? You know, like every year we come here, we're buying food and we're giving you all this. Well, if I'm spending this, instead of us doing that, let me buy you a chicken. So now you'll have some chicken and some eggs and something else, and now you can start your own. Let's talk about getting parcels of land. Let's talk about that. So that's something that's been able to happen too, and I've been able to see that people throughout that country that we've directly ministered to been able to go back and invest in their communities, not just spiritually, but economically and financially in ways that I don't think that they always had thought about or thought that they were capable of. And just kind of giving them some hope and some direction and saying, hey, look, same struggles you have here, we have similar struggles at home, and this is how we're handling those at home, and trying to train our people here to be able to be wise in their decisions and better stewards of the resources that we do have.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm glad you said that because it's important to give, it's important to help out and volunteer and donate, but more importantly, you able to empower people and make them feel, some type of self-worth and self-confidence that hey man, you could do this too. You don't have to stay stuck. You can get to the next level
Yeah,
in life, and that's all some people need is just a little couple
I'm
words of
telling you, man,
wisdom or
he,
act of
he sent me
generosity.
he sent me videos, and he sends me pictures every few weeks, every few where he went from 2 to 3 chickens. Now he got 10 chickens, right? Where he went from a small parcel of the land. I mean, it's not like he ain't got acres, but he's growing food now, and he's able to take care of himself. He's in school. He's learning. And I'm like, man, I love it.